Hey guys, welcome back to another Overwatch video, and today I want to talk about one of the biggest misconceptions in Overwatch, which is rank. And I know this is kind of like a taboo topic for a lot of people, but I kind of want to talk about it just because I feel that this is something that the community needs to talk about and have an open discussion about. And my disclaimer for this video is that I always make my videos as objective as possible and kind of from looking from the outside in, because I feel that's the best way to look at Overwatch. You also don't have to be a high-ranked player or a high-seasoned veteran player to understand this. This is something that anyone from any rank can understand. It's whether you acknowledge it or not. And again, as a reminder, my videos are made for the average Joe, and I mean that in Masters and below. No one in Grandmasters or no one in Top 500 because they already understand these concepts and know how the game works. Have you ever watched a video on YouTube on Overwatch telling you how to rank up, or you play this hero and you'll carry, this is the carry this, carry that? And no, I'm not talking trash on these videos at all because they are very informative, very entertaining, very well constructed, and they're telling the truth. But the thing is that this is not applicable or not easily applicable to 90% of the game. And I'm talking about even people in Diamond wouldn't be able to follow those videos or those guides to the point and still rank up or do exactly as they say. Although it's true for a very small percentage of the game, and that's something that I really want to clear out right now. And if you need more proof, then anyone who watches those videos and everything they said was applicable to everybody and it was 100%, then everyone would be Grandmasters or Top 500 already. But obviously that's not the case. So with that out the way, let's get right into it. So one of the biggest misconceptions that has always taken me off was your rank tells you how good of a player you are. That's not true at all. Overwatch is a very complicated game with a lot of nuances in it. And one of the biggest things about this game is that it's one of the only team-based games out there right now that actually is team-based. Your entire team will determine exactly how you perform, and your decisions and the small decisions of your teammates will directly affect your performance, their performance, and the total outcome of the game. So what does this mean? Mathematically, you only control 16% of what's going to happen in your team. And the match-wise, you only control about 8% of what happens in the game. And with that, how are you supposed to carry when you're 8% of the game? Exactly. You can't. And that's for all those people who say team is too heavy to carry, because you're a part of that team, so you're too heavy to carry, so shut the fuck up. So with that information, you now know that you have very little control over your SR and your rank overall. But there are things you can do to contribute to your team more than just playing DPS, and I'm just saying that because most people, for some reason, YouTube, feel that because YouTube told them that DPS is a way to rank up, which is not true at all. For example, if you're a Mahkii one-trick, you're an amazing Mahkii one-trick, you're a fucking god. You get headshots left and right. No matter how good you are, you're never gonna do shit with a D.Va, a Winston, a Genji, a Tracer, a Lucio, and a Zen on their team. You're gonna be fucking useless. Just saying. There's still a slight chance you'll work, but they're very fucking slim. At this point, you're just feeding and being completely useless. But you got gold damage. That's great. But you know what? It don't mean shit. Because at the end of the day, you still lost. I mean, that's just the truth though. And that's just me being non-PC as possible. Because I feel a lot of people are very PC about your mistakes. But in total actuality, like getting back to seriousness, Overwatch, if you want to win games, you can't play whatever you want. And that's something you need to come to terms with. That's the reason a lot of people get mad with one-tricks and other things like that, because they're counterintuitive to the way the game works. And a lot of times it works not because you're good at it, but it's just because you were fortunate enough to have a team that you got a team that just couldn't handle the Widow situation, or their teamwork was really horrible. But that's true with any kind of DPS that's exploitable, like Widow, Pharmacy, things like that. People just aren't used to dealing with that at lower ranks. And that's not you being good, that's just you exploiting the whole system. Well, I guess that technically makes you good, right? Because you're all playing them, you're all smarting them, knowing they can't deal with that, so that's what you're going to use as an advantage. So what does rank really mean? Well, in Overwatch, rank means, at least from what everyone's discovered thus far, is how good you are compared to someone else in the same SR. That's all it really means. And what's the problem with that? meaning that it's very easily exploitable. If you play characters that are very unpopular, like Mercy, or let's say Sombra, probably even Widow, since there's not a huge pool of people to pull from, and their threshold for how good it is. For example, let's say that Sombra's threshold for being a good player at this SR would be 16 limbs per match. If you get 32, you're doing twice as good as you did compared to someone else in your same SR playing Sombra, but that Sombra probably ain't a Sombra main, but you only one-trick Sombra, so it only has you to pick off of. So according to the system, you're an extraordinary Sombra, right? So when every time you win, also, if you didn't know this, SR is affected differently to everyone. It's compared, like I said, it's determined by how good you are compared to someone else at the same elo. So you can be a Sombra one trick, and since Sombra's not that great, I guess I'm using Sombra as an example, you're gonna gain SR based off of that. So if you did twice as good as the rest of the Sombras in that SR, you're gonna get a really huge boost. Let's say you're gonna get 40 SR for that win, but if you lost that game, you would only lost 10. So technically, you can have a negative win rate on Sombra, but still rank up, and that's the fucked up part. You can lose 3 games as Sombra, only lose 30 SR for those 3 games, but then win 40. So technically, now you're higher than where you started, and that's the problem with our current rank system. That's why a lot of people say rank doesn't matter, at least at a certain degree. So now we know that you have very little control over your SR and your rank. We also know that it's very easily manipulated. It rewards people for it rewards people for playing selfishly, but also at the same time, it screws over everybody else who's actually good. For example, if you're someone who has a deep hero pool and you are consistently grabbing into that, spreading all over the place, on average you're gonna gain less SR than someone who played less heroes, which is kind of messed up because that's counterintuitive. But that's just how the game works. But on average, people who have deep hero pools, they end up getting to a higher rank, not because the game screws them over, but because their total overall flexibility and how well-rounded player they are. That doesn't matter what kind of situation they're in, they can kind of adapt to it. So people who usually have deeper hero pools tend to have better win rates than people who have smaller hero pools. But that's just me putting that out there as information. You do what you will with that. So what does this all mean? This means that if you really want to climb, if you really want to win games, you can't just play one thing. You can't just play DPS. You can't just play off tank. You can't just play healer. That's the problem. That's playing counterintuitively to the game, right? You're focusing on one thing, but if you can't play that one thing, or you're not allowed to play that one thing, you're useless. So, for example, if you are a Diamond Mercy or a Diamond Genji, does that mean you're a Diamond player? Absolutely not. It just means your Genji is Diamond worthy, or whatever you used to get that win rate is Diamond worthy. So you can't walk around saying, hey, I made this Diamond on Genji, because just your Genji's Diamond, and you've never touched McCree, you play McCree, well, you're ass now, right? Back to bronze, or gold. It's the same situation when D.Va was king of the game. She was completely overpowered, and a lot of people got crazy boosts of SR because of it, right? They were one-tricking D.Va, and they had the win streak system still in game. So every time you win like 4 or 5 games, you would gain like 50, 60 SR up to 100 SR per game, which is kind of ridiculous. And you would see people jump from like plat to masters, or even with Mercy from plat to fucking like GM in one season, and that's fucking ridiculous. And does that mean you're a GM Mercy? No, it just means that you exploited the system, and the moment that Mercy's gone, you're back to bronze, or back to gold, or back to wherever the hell you were, where you came from. Does this mean that every person that did that is not a GM Mercy? Obviously not, but I'm just saying, like, there's so many inconsistencies with the game that rank doesn't really matter. And what determines how good of your player are is not your rank, but your overall knowledge of the game, plus mechanics. So don't let rank get to you. You know, don't put so much depth into rank, because our current rank system is so broken and convoluted that You can have gold players in diamond and diamond players in gold. And people who have alternate accounts realize this really easily. People who have alts, like I have one alt that's in diamond, another one that got sent all the way to gold. And I was always doing really well in my games with that account. But because the overall team knowledge was so low that we would lose more often, there was no follow-up to whatever I did. And I'm not saying I'm caring or not, I'm just saying I knew that, but never tried to fix that on that account until I started playing Zarya and started helping my team survive more often, which is the video the footage you were watching earlier. And you can go on streams and watch a bunch of people who are high rank who have alternate accounts and lower SRs struggle because they're just not used to it. They're used to their supports and their off tanks and their DPSs and whatever have you, knowing what they need to do in that situation, what to change to, what needs to change, and when to heal them, when to boost them without saying a word. And at lower ranks, that doesn't exist, and you see them struggle through that, and they're busting their ass trying to do the best they can. Keep in mind that they're the same GM player playing GM, but now they're in Masters or Diamond, and they can't accomplish the same things. And that's kind of my point, that SR and rank right now, the current system is so messed up and so broken with the way it works, and the nature of the game, that a lot of the things that people think about rank are just completely illogical. For everything under Grandmasters, I think Grandmasters is probably the only place where everything is consistent. Skill level, game knowledge, mechanics, anything under that, it's completely mixed up, convoluted, and horribly inconsistent. You got diamond players in gold, you got gold players in diamond, you got master players in plat, you got master players who just are in masters because the rest of the team is taking them there, because it's a team-based game. They only control 16 part of their team. And that's just true, they're being carried by their team, and that's the only carry that exists in this game is the team. The team will pick up the slack, and that's just the truth of it. It's all RNG. And I hope that you enjoyed this video and found it informative. It's supposed to be part comedy, part entertainment, and part informative. And it's kind of supposed to open up a discussion on this whole situation with the rank system. The rank system is not really that good in Overwatch. It's not traditional. Do you think that we should continue the way it is now, where things are a lot more exploitable? The nature of the game, because of the nature of the game, you don't really have to be that great. If you get lucky RNG and good teammates, you can make it to Masters or Diamond without really being that good. Or should we go traditional win rate, based off how much you win on certain characters, and that's how much SR you're going to get based off of? Or do you agree with the very dynamic hidden MMR system that's in the game, where if you have complete shit MMR, it's really hard for you to build it back together, and now you're getting shitty matches because of it? But you can have amazing MMR, be horrible, and still win matches. And even if you do get good MMR, it's very easy to destroy your MMR very easily, but it's very difficult to correct it. Tell me guys what you guys think, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Thanks.